Third class citizen, welcome back to the 39 steps, everyone. Sunday, 24th of May, 1914, Wimpole Street, London. Waiting for this bloody milkman. Wait for the clatter of cans. Here he comes.
God blimey!
Come in here a moment. I want a word with you.
Yes, sir?
He was a young man about my own height, with an ill-nourished moustache, and wearing a flat blue cap with white overalls.
I reckon you're a bit of a sportsman, and I want you to do me a service. Lend me your cap and overall for 10 minutes, and here's a sovereign for you.
His eyes opened with the sight of the gold, and he grinned broadly.
What's the game?
A bet. I haven't time to explain, but to win it, I've got to be a milkman for the next 10 minutes, and all you've got to do is to stay here till I come back. You'll be a bit late, but nobody will complain, and you'll have that quid for yourself.
Right. I ain't the man to spoil a bit of sport. Here's the rig, governor.
Good man, good man. Wearing his hat and overalls, I went whistling downstairs. At first I thought there was nobody in the street. Then I caught sight of a policeman 100 yards down, and a loafer shuffling past on the other side. I crossed the street, in character, whistling gaily and imitating the jaunty swing of the milkman. Some impulse made me raise my eyes to the house opposite, and there, at the first floor window, was a face. As the loafer passed, he looked up, and I fancied a signal was exchanged. Then I took the first side street. There was no one in the alleyway, so I dropped the milk cans inside the hoarding and sent the cap and overalls after them. I'd only just put on my cloth cap when the postman came round the corner. I gave him a good morning. He answered me unsuspiciously. Then I took to my heels and ran. We're away for some pancreas. Where's some pancreas? Euston Station, King's Cross, St Pancras. I had no time to take a ticket. A porter told me the platform. I saw the train already in motion. 2 station officials blocked the way. I dodged them and clambered into the last carriage. I had made it. We were on the run. Three minutes later, an irate guard interviewed me. He wrote out for me a ticket for Newton Stewart, a name which had suddenly come from the back of my memory. He then conducted me from the first class compartment to the third class smoker. Oh, not so nice. The The compartment was occupied by a sailor and a stout woman with child. With a child. Not with child. Okay, what do we got here? Newspaper. Anything we need to be aware of? Any news? The week in Paris, hot weather and politics, talk of new ministry, attractions of the season. Affairs in Berlin, new minister chills democratic hopes. Empire Days, yesterday's parade of 6,000 in Hyde Park. Captain Forrester and an ancient barony. Policeman on trial. What are these? Same page. Right, okay.
It's a sail job catching trains.
Aye, the impudence of that Geared. He needed a Scotch tongue to put him in his place. He was complaining of this way and no haying a ticket and her no fower till August 12 month. And he was objecting to this gentleman spitting.
I had a solemn time travelling north that day. I asked myself, when I was still a free man, had I stayed on in London and not got the good of this heavenly country? Through Manchester, off to Leeds, it would seem. Oh God, we're not stopping in Leeds, are we? Then I got out Scudder's little pocketbook and studied it. It's just Roman numerals, isn't it? Or a code. The writings. I was certain that Scudder never did anything without a reason, and I was pretty sure that there was a cipher in all of this. The cipher. I have a head for things like chess and puzzles, and I used to reckon myself pretty good at finding out ciphers. These sets of figures looked like they corresponded to letters of the alphabet. The key word. I tried for hours, but none of the words answered. Finally, we left Leeds, past Carlisle, and on to Dumfries. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. I woke up at Dumfries just in time to bundle out onto the crowded platform. There was a young man on the platform whose looks I didn't like, but he never glanced at me. I caught sight of myself in the mirror of an automatic machine with a brown face, my old tweeds and my slouch. I was the very model of one of the hill farmers who were now crowding onto the third-class carriages. I boarded the Galloway train, travelling with half a dozen in my atmosphere of shag and clay pipes. They had come from the weekly market, and their mouths were full of prices. I said to him, I'm not going to play that kind of place. Love it. Brilliant. The local train. Conversation. I heard accounts of how the lambing had gone at the Cairn, or Cairn, and then the Douche. And a dozen other mysterious waters. Okay, not sure I pronounced that. Above half the men had lunched heavily and were highly flavoured with whiskey. But they took no notice of me. Sounds like a jolly good day out. About 5 o'clock the carriage had emptied, and I was left alone as I had hoped. I got out to the next station. It reminded me of one of those forgotten little stations in the Karoo. An old station master with his spade over his shoulder sauntered to the train, took charge of the parcel and went back to his potatoes, while a child of 10 received my ticket. Taking the path out onto the wilderness, onwards we travel, through the moors and over dales. Nice. I was getting very hungry when I eventually came to a herd's cottage. A brown-faced woman greeted me with the kindly shyness of moorland places. When I asked for a night's lodging, she said I was welcome to the bed in the loft, and very soon she set before me a hearty meal of ham and eggs, scones, and thick, sweet milk. At the darkening, her man came in from the hills, a lean giant, who in one step covered as much ground as 3 paces of ordinary mortals. They asked me no questions. They had the perfect breeding of all dwellers in the wilds, but I could see that they would set me down as a kind of dealer. I took some trouble to confirm their view. They refused any payment, and by 6 the next morning I had breakfasted and was striding southwards again. All the slackness of the past months was slipping from my bones, and I stepped out like a 4-year-old. My notion was to return to the railway line, a station or 2 farther than the place where I had alighted yesterday, and double back. I waited till I saw the smoke of an east-going train on the horizon. There it is. Let's approach. Then I approached the booking office and took a ticket for the Dumfries. And we survived that tale, the Sanctuary of the Inn. With a considerable distance between himself and his pursuers, Hannay makes his next move. That is what's lying in wait for us next time. I hope you're enjoying this 39 steps playthrough of this remarkably animated novel. I'm quite enjoying this. It's such a different pace from what we usually do, and different style as well. It's quite chilled. I'm very much enjoying it. We'll continue this next time. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe. Tickle the bell so you don't miss the next video. See you next time. Bye bye.